Alright, hello everybody and welcome on back. I was AFKing and as you can see we've got some cacti now. We've also still got a drift, so we gotta be careful. Oh, and do we have emeralds? Yes. So, anyways, I will still continue to marvel at technology at its finest, and I've noticed a few things which continue to reaffirm the idea that one of the first and main things that I've learned and know in computer science and tech in general is I don't know everything. Or there could always be a better solution. I feel like that's real for everything. My voice almost just cracked there, but I think it kind of did. Anyways, no. So flash drives. I mean, I have a couple of really high capacity flash drives, um, and I didn't realize you can reformat them if you're only trading in like if it's a FAT or a fat file system, which one of mine is, a 256 gigabyte flash drive. It can only do 4 gigs at a time, and I didn't realize why that was. And I looked it up, and because you got to reformat it. So, and I think it's the FAT32 is the other one, and then it's like exFAT or FAT64. I don't even know about that, but let's see. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And even that. Oops. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, so basically I got to reformat the drives, but in order to do that, I need to unload the stuff that's on it onto a tertiary device or a third device, a computer, or I've got a couple that I want to start playing around with. Not even connecting to the internet, just some offline network servers, like or local network server stuff. Not, in fact, you don't want them accessible to the outside world, um, and you got to really pay close attention to what does have access to them. So, anyways. Oh, this music is just so legendary. So yeah, it's been a great day for projects too. I've already got sent out a Snapchat chat of probably more information than I should have. I don't know if anybody can zoom in on that, but you got to be careful with social media and the stuff that you post like globally to the world. At the same time, not like so. Part of it is like say you're concerned about getting attacked, or sorry, someone's trying to gather information on you to try to attack you or something, and they see that you have a Mac or they see you have a Windows computer. So right there, it determines what kind of virus they're trying to send you. So if they are fortunate enough to get a payload over to you, they got to make sure it's formatted, it's the correct format or version or type or code or whatever to be either, Macintosh or Windows. So but that's also kind of like an overly paranoid thing. As long as you have everything protected by multi-factor, and the more and more eyes we get on networks, the world is actually quickly becoming secure. I mean, it's not there yet, don't get me wrong, and you have to have multi-factor on everything. And sometimes it gets annoying too, and like even like restaurant apps and stuff. I mean, maybe not everything. Like I say that, but the main, like the important accounts, like your email is very important because you tie, your bills to that, your voter registration. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that gets tied to your email. Even your driver's license, I want to say anymore. I don't have mine handy, but I was gonna see if it has it listed on there. 'Cause that would be funny. Like get an email from like the law or the authorities. Not saying that happens a lot, but anyways, it's kind of an ongoing joke for people like in college because you move around so much that your current address constantly changes, and I don't know, like I mean, and most people aren't going to proactively like, oh, I'm going to go to the DMV and let them know that my address changed. Like, it's like no, that's an extra drive. That's probably some money. Like, I just moved, so I just, that means I spent a lot of money on moving, and or furniture or stuff that my roommates used to have and now I need to get for myself or whatever the case may be. So we went quiet on a rant there. Oh, I did want to clarify. I did part of my projects today. I'm offloading videos, making sure they're uploaded to my YouTube channel if I want them, being able to edit them, and I need to go back and edit some old Fortnite ones where I'm just AFK and stuff. So Um, I need to get some wood. Let's go ahead and restock on that. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we filled most of the actual glass factory, but like the backup stores are pretty empty. So are running shy. Anyways, I wanted to say like a lot of the episodes I did recently were after the Putin Tucker interview, and I do want to clarify, like just in case, like anybody's curious. I am very critical of Russia, just like I'm critical of the U.S., but especially so with Russia because Russia and China are, for lack of a better term, the two only remaining like major threats in the world. Potential threats, I should say, not even real threats, potential threats. Because at the same time, I'm trying to talk to like, uh, trying to communicate across the aisle, as it were, across to China that hey, not all America thinks this way, and we're not trying to do all this, and if we are, we'll make it right. Like somehow, let's try to de-escalate the situation because BRICS and Taiwan and all that, it's like all moving at once. It's like we're blitzing, like sprinting to the end of a stable global society, or it's almost like musical chairs, literally, with countries, like or places that want to become countries. I mean, and coming from one of the biggest colonies become independent, and even I keep finding out exactly, or no, I keep finding out more of what I don't know, like the Uyghurs. Sorry. And every time I hear it, it's gonna be. Sorry. I was trying to like have a political debate on the X app the other day, and I'm watching this video, and this very attractive like Chinese lady like she's saying this stuff and stuff, and these, but I mean she made a lot of sense though. Oh, I fell. About the America meddling in foreign affairs and trying to manipulate this region, which is on the Belt and Road path. Which I don't know. I mean, that makes about as much sense as like since we mostly rely on planes anymore and ships. Like I'd be more concerned about places for shipyards and stuff, like as far as trade is concerned. I mean, yeah, there's railways and a lot more. I was looking at a map the other day and I don't know how accurate it was, but it showed, in fact, I know it wasn't completely accurate because it was talking about railroads in America versus Europe. So just thinking about commerce and trade over land, and it's it's vastly different. There's a lot more trains in pretty much anywhere else in the world, but there's still a lot of trains. I mean, there's a train that comes through Foco like every day. So I know I used to live right next to the railroad tracks, and I still know people that live next to the railroad tracks. Oh, this drift. Okay. Anyways, my point is like this project that I'm making, I'm going to start cataloging and documenting, uh, mostly documenting, I guess. Cataloging, I don't know, but the sides, the pros and the cons, making a list, trying to just visualize what's the macro view of this and what are all the factors, because it's the same thing you do in tech. When you're in IT and you have a problem, it doesn't matter what the problem is. It could be a number of things. In fact, it could be a number of things you didn't even think of that day. Like you're like, "Oh, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to take care of this today." No. You're always on your heels like, reacting to things. Like, "Oh, okay. Oh, this blew up, or this is on fire, or or this thing is no longer on the network, or this is disconnected. Oh, I dropped my computer. Now I need a replacement." And then you got to configure it and tool it. I mean, and you can continue to try to keep spare. Well, anyways, that's going way too far in the weeds as far as that's concerned. My point being is this tool would to help in the decisions, and with any IT decision, you need to first gather the facts, like what's going on. What are the potential factors that are relevant to this case, like, or this situation? And definitely not any legality or anything. If anything, you're constantly like, okay, I'm gonna look out for our company, but if that's also if the company's kind of like being compromised there or like being hurt in any way, then you got to kind of take that into, and then maybe pull some other people in on the decision. But and that's what we need to do as a world with elections and stuff. We need to make them open and transparent, which was ideally the tool I would like to build. But for now, we're at the stage of let's just document what we have and what I have. I mean, and try not to weigh it down. Like a collection of links and articles, basically a wiki, or even tie links of wikis to it. That way, people, if they want, can dig deeper into any given subject, but at least they have a jumping off point or a starting point. Like, okay, we go to this tool, this website, and I pulled it up. I have a lot of code pens, a lot of like a graveyard of like half finished projects, but um, one of them is my open source computer science and has like 285 views, which is great. I mean, for a website that doesn't really, I mean, it starts to, but it's lengthy, it's bulky. Already, the tutorial that I have is just about, it's actually younger, I want to say by several months. Well, maybe not the finished version of OSCS, but open source computer science. Yeah, uh, acronyms and all that. But the coding game tutorial I have is up at about 47,000 views, I want to say. It's up over at least 40. I know that. And it's only like 2 years old. Um, I was doing it, well, a little over 2 years, I think, but I was doing it trying to prove that I knew what I was doing for potential employers, like kind of padding my resume. But also at the same time, like honestly trying to find a way to teach computer science. And still to this day, I might get into teaching a little bit. For now, I'm happy doing the IT side of things, but maybe it could double as like, well, I'm still going to do it as an open source educator. So, I mean, that's not going to change. In fact, I've been starting to use I've got a pretty cool setup, and like I've got like a couple of setups, and I'm trying to like slowly pass them on to my kiddos and have them start toying around with things. But that's definitely got to be a sandbox. And then even my own stuff, like I don't keep too much on it. Like, so we've got a web server that's being in the process, and there's so many ways, and also a lot of vulnerabilities introduced with web servers, of course. But um, that's why using virtual machines, and that way, you can just throw it in the gutter and go get another, easy that VM, and yeah. Plus, it's great honeypots. So they make great honeypots, I should say, because you're constantly monitoring the networks anyway, and like you see all this stuff, and I caught like a Nessus scan ended up running, and I was like, wait a minute, it goes like scheduled like that, and I had to check the config, and mm, yeah, it's worth investing in things. There's Security Onion, there's Nessus, I mean, Nessus is free up to a certain amount of machines, and that scans your system. It also requires some pretty hefty privileges, so you gotta keep an eye on like stuff like that, or stuff hidden as Nessus. That's a thing. Ugh. But Security Onion, I'm pretty sure that has like an FBI backdoor. But at anymore, like if you're using any of the infrastructure, like they can monitor that, and they do monitor that. And of course, your communications are encrypted, but at the same time, they have to be routed so at least the actors are visible to everybody, the IP addresses. And even if you spoof them, you can only Tor so much, and then even that, like if you're on a network and you have to do more than a few hops on a network that's jointly monitored, then the onion router didn't do anything, did it? And like, and we've got Interpol, we've got basically like a global police, like a system of working together, especially against cybercrime. I mean, there's a lot of thefts going on, but then you also have the secret, like the state-sponsored, like uh-oh, we might be going to war with this place. We need all the information. I've read a lot of books on that, which is why. So I have a flash drive from China. I'm like, and it's because one of the books that I read, that's like, that was even more of a guaranteed way to be able to upload something, from the Chinese government or what have you. And then you got Pokemon Go, and you got flash drives being left around. You just pick it up off the street, like, I'm gonna plug this in, and then you get malware instantly on your system. But that's why virtual machines, and also the host machine, well, heavily monitored and scanned, and I haven't even taken it out of the package. I'm almost like gonna just grab one of my other ones because I didn't realize, like I got it, I was curious, and at one point we will get to the point where, yeah. But most of my stuff is on this YouTube channel, and I'm hoping that people are watching this, the people in the government. Oh wait, let's go back to that. So the Russia interview thing. So right away I know that we need to have elections for a new leader of Russia. Like that just has to happen. That one guy died in prison just recently. He shouldn't have been in prison, from what I hear, for what he did. And I know there's people out there that are going to be ripping their hair out, screaming like, "You idiot!" Like this and that. But then let's remember, all I have to go on is I saw a video of his partner trying to get a bribe from MI6, and and I know that my own country is shipping off a bunch of weapons of death, and like, LM blankets with SARS. Like, it's hard to feel too good about that. I love my country. I'm a total patriot, but I love it so much. I need to keep it in check and be like, hey, let's calm down here a little bit. I mean, nobody likes to be told to be calm down. Really, I mean, that's an understatement, but you got to de-escalate the situation somehow and make it make sense too. And so the listing out the pros and cons and like the background info. And so I just saw this video that was like this guy um, was explaining how Putin, when he came to power, he was actually going against the oligarchs and like the way it used to be, like the wealthy, like running things and sucking up all the money or blah blah blah, and like and they had a guy. Oh, okay, so Moscow convictions have a 99.7 conviction rate or something, and they stay in the cage because there's almost no chance of them not being found guilty once it goes to Moscow, I guess, or I think that was how they put it. The dude who was a British citizen and grew up in the U.S. So right there, a little bias. I mean, we're talking about MI6 trying to, like our potential for bias. Let's see. So, anyways, and he said that Putin demanded half of everything from the oligarchs after arresting the richest oligarch. He set an example for the rest of the oligarchs, and then they gave him half or hold on to it for him or whatever. And now Putin's the richest man in the world. Okay, so that's one point, but if we're going to try to say, hey, you need to give some of that back, we need to make it to where he can decide. Because one thing I have noticed with a lot of people, Trump's included, like, with all these charities and stuff, you look at all the money that they do raise for things. Like, nobody wants to talk about that. Like, we do talk about when Trump defrauded one charity and diverted some of the funds to his campaign, and now he's selling shoes, like to pay some stuff. He's got some legal issues, and he's going to try to make the American people pay for it. But not just make them pay for it, he'll, give them some things, show your support, which a lot of people are going to do, and that's fine. Like, I mean, if you support him, that's one way that you can support him. That's his GoFundMe. He literally had a GoFundMe that I think got shut down. Um, Anyways, it's just ridiculous. And trying to like shut things down like that, it just makes it look petty. Like, I mean, you can't help but sympathize with the quote unquote other side for seeing stuff like that. And Putin's doing this. So, like, we need to get him out, but he needs to leave on his own terms with a new election because he's not a dumb guy. And we need to believe it. We need it to be sincere. Like, yes, no more of this will happen again. Putin was a one-time, like, I mean, USSR, okay, it did that. Now we need to bring it back to where, and we need to get our own oligarchs in check. Like, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, which is actually kind of, well, anyways. Hey, kitty. See, I need a real cat. I don't have any animals. Not that I know of, anyway. Oh, we got some wood. Alright, let's get some this too. Why not? Because I'm going to need some lime green dye to get some, so I need some white dye and all this cacti that I'm getting, including where I AFK'd at. That was like a whole cacti farm. Getting the glass going, getting the sand. I want to build some more buildings, I think is where we're at, as far as like Minecraft goes. The whole thing, I think I've upset quite a few people on Twitter. Like people that are XApp. See, now I keep calling it that, like I got in my head. It is XApp. Like, I'm not even intentionally trying to do it. But like Stephen King the other day was like, I refuse to call it X or X. And I understand not wanting to call it X. I constantly call it XApp because otherwise it could sound like drugs. Like, okay, great. When I was on X the other day, like I said this, people were like, oh my god, like that's not safe for work. NSFW. So, but I'm on vacation. Woo. See, all this is short. I mean, you still get a lot, but could have been better. Alright. Alright. That's a lot of cows. Since I don't have humane farms in this game. Suppose I could. Hmm. We could go ahead and do something like that route. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and do all that. Actually, I do want to do Well, and actually, or no, let's go ahead and do that. Let's chop up a few more trees, but let's take this over there. Because if we're going to continue to finish out that, yeah, I've got at least, what, one, two, three, four, five, or six, at least, floors to do. And each one of those requires, wait, what am I doing? I also need to finish that too, so it shouldn't matter where I jump in. It should all just take me there. In fact, let's do that. Hmm. Do I have any? A lot of good stuff, but no cobblestone. Those are all empty. Oh, how do I have stone? That's weird. I have more stone. Okay, whatever. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And you gotta love the music. Okay, so a furnace, and we don't have wood. Yes, we do. There we go. And so now we can leave regular glass here, and which I already have, I guess. And I'll have some dye, and 'cause for a while there I was trying to bring just the green stained glass over, and you want to keep them in cubes because then you can break them up when you're ready to use them. But for transport, it's better to just keep them like that. Even though I do a bit of both. So, oh, why? Oh. So like I said, there's always a chance that there's a better way to do things. Okay, you know what? I don't need to listen to this. Okay, let's go get some more wood and drop off this stuff and make the sand and yeah, let's add to that. I'm so glad I found a bunch of this stuff. I gotta be careful not to squander it too because I think I went pretty far to get it. Alright, so just like everywhere, I mean, well, I feel like I should do. Okay. Okay. Whee! Okay. I guess I wonder how far down it has to go. There's gonna be so much of that going on. Alright. Gonna continue on here. So I don't know. I also want to get into like building a web server, and then already I got like nodes set up, like starting to. I have a whole big old book I got from the bookstore. I was gonna try to, set up node servers, and there's just like the possibilities are endless, and it's so easy for me to get bogged down in the possibilities, the potentials of node. So then it's like, so then I just don't do anything. But all right. Okay. Oh, I don't think it works if you. Oh wait. Okay, so looks like that's okay. But if you put it like there, maybe. No, that still works. Okay, I don't know what I was worried about. There we go. Nice. Okay. All right. So, kind of missing a lot here. Oops, that's the wrong one. Okay. There we go. That's getting better. I do need a ton more. That was a good stack, and I suppose I could even space them out a little farther, but if you give it too much time, then it launches you like that. I mean, that's like a good pace. Oh, so anyways, what I gotta do is I gotta set up a virtual machine for this project, and I want to do log monitoring, network monitoring, basically make like a mimic of my own security onion as much as I can recreate. And then it's got to be a web server, so and I got to pick like maybe even do both, run a dual like PHP, like a lamp stack, like Apache, MySQL, PHP, but then also Mongo and then Node and actually just Node and Node. You can do a front end and a back end. Want to have a bunch of users, and with all of that, all the bells and whistles of user security, and then and database. Like it's got to be, and all it's gonna be. There's not gonna be any like extremely private information, just like a username and password for the user, and maybe an email. So the emails, yeah, and even then, I don't know. Like, emails aren't even all that sacred anymore. Like, you still get spam sent to everywhere. But I mean, and then you could also track them too. Like, if the emails are there, and they match, like, anyways, you could have a bunch of dummy, like, bait emails. Yeah, and honeypot. So, but the overall goal of the tool, that's just a given with anything anymore. Like, everything I do, I have to try to, like, include all of that. Um, uh, but the overall functionality of it is going to be, can we keep politicians honest and not trying to be like no animosity towards them. It's like getting until we get money out of politics, and that's easier said than done. Because first we got to reduce the cost of education, so we don't have the disparity there of, well, people have to go through so much law school and this school and that school and like to become a politician. So should we go ahead and heal the shovel up? Yeah, so I got quite a bit of stuff going on. I don't know when I'll finish any of it. Like, so far I'm copying over my open source computer science like template of a code pen. Oh, there's the alarm too. So, and then we don't have Jamboard anymore. Jamboard would have been perfect. It's basically like a whiteboard on Google that's open source. I don't know when they're phasing it out. I'd have to look into getting an alternative. But even then, Google Docs, I believe, is good for a lot of that. So as long as I have like links to Docs and then make basically a directory of Google Docs, and then even then like have like a scratch sheet for each subject where any user, anyone in the world, can comment, edit it, or whatever, and that way you could get user input from places, people from all over the world. Um, Oops, I'm gonna take up some of this reserve. I gotta get some more wood. But anyways, just being lazy getting that. So that's where the project's at. It's gonna be pretty cool if I can get it to work. If not, at least it's gonna be on my GitHub and then I'll publish it and all that. Which I already, I mean, if you go to my GitHub now, I've got all the different websites that I do have, all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which is very small. I don't do a lot of JavaScript. So anyways, that's 30 minutes, so I will, oh, this drift. All right, ta-ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Which again, might be Fortnite. I'm also uploading a bunch of, like, any of my old videos trying to clear up space, but might be more Minecraft, might be some Fortnite, might be some Dark Souls, I don't know. Or it might be a nap. Alright, ta-ta, I'll see you in the next one.